All right, we're back at it. Episode number 38
Nice.
of Cardboard and Cold Ones. I was tempted to pick. I wasn't sure who to really pick for who were number 38, but I guess Rick Aguilera.
Oh yeah. I couldn't. Do you how deep is the research when you've got to pick numbers?
I just use Baseball Reference, and they give me like all the players that pitched, and I guess I could have picked Kurt Schilling,
Right.
but I went with Rick Aguilera's Aguilera, whatever. I can't remember. Is it Aguilera? Aguilera, yeah. I went with that. But yes, welcome to Cardboard and Cold Ones, everybody, where we raise our glasses and cheers to the legends we admire on the cardboard we collect.
Cheers, everybody.
EBR. And of course, this live stream is not sponsored by Union Craft of Zadie's Lager. I'm down to 3 beers, or 2 now. And I am always going to say at the beginning of every live stream, Zadie's or Union Craft, if you want to sponsor this live stream, because we do get a good number of people.
Oh, heck yeah.
And, I'm happy to really, do like beginning endorsements in the beginning of the video shout outs, middle of the live stream shout outs with Zadie's. I'm happy to do whatever it takes for you guys to send me a 24-pack monthly. I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for beer.
Tell them to send you some T-shirts, and we'll wear them every week.
Even better. I will wear a Zadie's Lager T-shirt while drinking a Zadie's Lager beer.
We're not beyond selling ourselves out for free alcohol.
Listen, man, I keep getting ghosted by them. And here I am staying loyal and true because their beer is fantastic. Am I the sucker? Maybe I am.
Not if it's good beer, you're not.
Oh, it's good beer. Let's do a roll call. So, Phil Nucro fan 35.
Billy.
It is Ricky Aguilera. Yes. Ross loves cards. Dave from Peacemaker is here. Sven is here. Peter B. Our main man Lenny, what's up?
There he is.
Mike from Jayhawker. Pastor Craig, Vintage Cards. eBay is excited to see us. Yank Me Card Collection, Doc Van Hoot. Howdy from Tucson. Jacob is here. Killer Brew Kurt. Litzy Sports Cards. Lou Rock is here. Must be some kind of mistake. You never sent my link to the stream. Oh.
You're the inaugural. You were the inaugural guest.
He was number 1. Aaron is here. Aaron, we're going to be chatting with you in a little bit about something.
Yeah.
Nothing bad. Rusty is here. Diamond Gems is here. Harry Doyle approved. I appreciate that. Oh, man. So we have a guest that is appearing tonight. I met him for the first time at the Delaware Card Show. And it was actually a pretty good show. And I met him towards the end when I was about to leave, but it was cool talking with him. And he's really been making waves in the community, in a good way. Yep. Making videos. I think he's also active on Net54, which is a great forum. And I think Neal's also in the Facebook groups, but Neal can correct me if I'm wrong here. But let's bring him on in. All right. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What's going on, Neal?
Yes, I am in some of those Facebook groups.
Yeah, that's what I kind of lose sight of who's in what these days, but I know it's Net54 for sure. You're in there.
Yeah, I've been on 54 for a while. It's message boards. I think sometimes are not extinct, but with social media kind of has taken over a lot of things. But Net54 is a great source of information. It's been around for a long time. So if you're a vintage collector, chances are you're going to find exactly what you need information-wise on that site, that message board.
Net54 has quite honestly been the best resource in finding like the biggest cards in my collection, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
I'm going to tell you guys this, shame on me. I've never been on it. I've never, and Sammy, I think you're like, what? Last time I said, I still haven't. I've never been on it.
Okay, I get it, man. I mean,
I need to. No, it's just pure. I just need to. I need to do it. I want it because that's all I hear about. What a great resource it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's an issue that you're thinking about, Jason, you just type it in search. You're gonna find a lot of information, and maybe even some cars for sale, which
Right.
is, it seems like Saturday morning, that's when a lot of stuff, at least it used to, Saturday morning seemed to be, that's when people were listing stuff for sale
Sure.
for some reason. And, sometimes you'd find some finds.
Yeah, I got to check
Good
it out.
stuff.
I'm getting pulled in several directions. I haven't taken the auction leap yet, and I'm really getting hammered to get onto an auction. So I've got several guys hammering me to get onto an auction.
Like not any auction?
I've never purchased through an auction.
Wow.
Yeah, so that has to happen, and there's several things. So
rabbit holes. That's what's going to happen.
I'm specifically avoiding them, Neal. For
you
reasons,
can't help it sometimes.
I know.
Especially who you're buddies with. You know what I mean? So,
right.
Yeah. Geez, Luis.
He lives everywhere. That guy. He lives and purchases everywhere. So
yeah.
But
great guy. Great collection too.
Awesome collection. But we're here to talk about you. So, I know you. If Sammy knows you, I know you. But why don't you tell everybody a little about you and your channel?
All right. Well, so Cardboard Coach Neal. I was a little league coach for about 10, 12 years. That's kind of how I came up with the name. Figured it was maybe somewhat catchy, but I've been watching YouTube. I've been watching YouTube for a really long time, but not about baseball cards. Just something pops up on Facebook, or you wanted to search like a vacation spot. We're big Disney fans, so sometimes we would search that. And then it dawned on me probably about 2 years ago to look for some baseball cards and different sets. And lo and behold, saw all you guys and a lot of other ones. And so about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, I started watching a lot of different channels, and some of the ones I don't watch anymore. It's more modern stuff, and that's not really my forte. It's more the vintage type of feel. And probably earlier this year, a few months ago, I decided to start my own, so came up with the name, and I think it was a Friday. I just kind of winged it and just put out a video in early May. And here I'm talking to you fine folks, a month and a half later, whatever it is.
Well, I think it's fair to say you collect similar to my buddy Aaron, and kind of similar to me as I've been diving down the rabbit hole. But fill us in a little bit about what your interest has been lately, because I know we did the Mount Rushmore on my channel, and you are right in the alley with all the things that I enjoy, and what you were showing is phenomenal. What I'm really into now. So fill everybody in on what you prefer to collect or what you like to collect right now, because everything changes.
I'll give you like a blanket, snapshot, if you will. But probably like most of us out there, I started at a younger age. I know the camera probably takes about 20, 30 years off. I'm really not in my early to mid 30s, so I'm much older than that. So I started, as a younger kid, late 70s, early 80s, collecting, whatever issue it was that year. I didn't know anything about this. Is way before the internet. Didn't know pricing was tough. There wasn't card shops, which seemed to happen in the later 80s and early 90s. Kind of every 2 miles, there was a new one. I knew about a flea market. So buddies of mine from the neighborhood, we would ride our bikes without telling our parents. It was only a couple miles away, but there was one guy, he had a cigar box, and whatever he had in it, that's the vintage that you had to choose from, until about a year later in 81, I discovered called Joe's Dugout. So if anyone is from Wilmington, Delaware, out there watching, or maybe even in the Delaware Valley area, you probably were at this store. It was a great store. And I was blown away as a kid when I first arrived. It wasn't called vintage cards, but it was old cards, and my first old card was a 75 Brooks Robinson, which I still have up in my binder. Those binders, I got 3 or 4 of them from a kid, and as a kid, and they remain untouched. The sheets are still good, so a couple I had to replace, but So in '81, I think what I jumped into vintage, into post-war, which wasn't called post-war back then, but I won second prize in an art contest as a 12, 13-year-old kid. And Philadelphia Electric Company, now known as Pico. So it's $50, second prize check. That check was spent the next time before it even arrived.
Right.
And I bought a bunch of packs from '81, a bunch of cards, but I also got these two, which is my first ever kind of. Can you see? I don't know if there's a glare, but a 55 Jackie and a 55 Ted. These were two of the first 4 cards I ever got graded. Sending them off to PSA in the late '90s was it was a nightmare. I was very nervous. Sending them off, didn't know what to expect, but and like a knucklehead, I paid another $15 to get these things reholder because of the lighthouse. Just wasting hundreds of dollars, I think, wasted over the years on reholdering cards. But what are you gonna do? Then ever since, kept on collecting. '80s are one of my favorite issues. Favorite decade of. I think they have a great design, most of them, and kind of very underrated as it gets on to '89. But after early '90s, I think I just lost track of collecting. If I drove past a mall and there was a show, I would go in. If I was in travels, like after college, outside sales. If I'm in a different city and I saw a baseball card store, I'm stopping in. But the '90s, I really didn't get hooked up in. It's a shame because there's a lot of great issues, but it just never appealed to me. And plus, you got other stuff going on. I always had my collection. You always take breaks, right? And then I got back into it probably full steam ahead 25, 30 years ago. And here we are. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's, is it fair to say that '90s, family, things of that nature, you're getting into your career, you got, that's that was kind of I think we're similar in age, and that was kind of my era of, all right, family's coming in, my job's getting solidified. Last thing I was thinking about was cards. Like you said, every once in a while I'd stop into a shop or buy something in retail and, hang on to it. But other than that, there are those gaps. And same for you, Sammy. I mean, what brought you back in was like the nostalgia of what you found at that bookstore, right? I mean, there was a gap for you.
I have it right here. It was raw at the time. I'll swap it over here, man. Is the Larry Bird second year card. And the reason why this is so special, because I paid 25 cents for this card.
Awesome. You can't go wrong.
Right.
So it came back in 8, and I was actually on the verge of putting it into a lot to sell, and then I saw Orlando was like, "No, don't sell it," and like, okay.
I was just gonna ask you because that was in some of your videos of, and this is what I'm selling.
Oh, early days.
That's a great card. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I really like it. I mean, basketball is incredibly underrated in this community. I don't think it gets a lot of recognition. I think it's like there's a handful of people that will make videos from time to time, but it just doesn't get a lot of love. But that card in particular, it was a great year from a great set. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, second year cards. You got a great looking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar action shot of him doing a sky hook. I mean, I don't want to completely, take over this with basketball, Chad, but it's
collecting and drinking beers.
As far as basketball cards go, that's an awesome one in the warm-up jacket and everything. So
I agree 100%. And it's his first independent card, right? So '80 was the year of the multiple, the 3 cards in one, and he had like 3 of them, if I remember, in '80. But the big one's obviously Magic, Bird, and Dr. J. But he's on a couple of them, so
But yeah, man, I'm holding on to some basketball cards that I have from some Bird ones. So
why not?
Yeah, but right now I think the focus is Mays and Maddie. I think I'm severed out.
What about Ryan?
Ryan, the only thing that really excites me is the transagram. You know, outside of that, listen. I'm never gonna get at 68 Vinny of Nolan Ryan. I mean, it's just impossible. That's just
You never know.
that's
Right.
yeah. Well, I need to hit the
Might-
lottery to get a 15.
Or you might find one in a 25-cent box. You know,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
there by accident, right?
Somebody's gonna. Yeah. God, if that happened.
I'm putting it out there. I'm putting it out there in the ether right now. If we're doing cardboard and cold ones, and Lenny's going to be on there, Lenny, we're gonna the topic of cardboard and cold ones is going to be who's the 5th player Sammy's going to collect, and we're all going to pressure him into one player.
No, listen, man. It's already Aaron's already doing it.
I know,
Aaron's pressuring me. He's like, "Listen, you got to bridge the gap here. You don't have anybody, between like in the 1920s." Because really, it's a huge gap. It goes from like 19, no, was it 15 or 16 is when Matty stopped, and then after that, it's Mays, and that's not till 1951. So I mean,
right.
Aaron's all about like, hey man, you gotta if you want a Giants, you got how about Mel Ott? I'm like, okay.
Right.
I was just going to say the same player.
He's got
Yeah.
an awesome run of cards. He's got a lot of fantastic oversized stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Aaron secretly he tries to get people hooked on what he has, what he's showing. Meanwhile, we're looking for eBay. He's got alternative eBay IDs. He's selling it. So
right. Well, he's
doing the whole churning and the whole flipping thing.
He's the pusher for a reason.
Yeah.
So
He's very, it's funny. He's he's very around the right people. He will definitely start kind of pushing in a positive way, but if he doesn't know you very well, he's pretty pretty chill, and you'd be surprised. He just kind of surprises you if you're not if you don't see him.
Gentle nudges is what
yeah,
it
man.
says.
But if he knows you well enough, prepare for a battle.
Oh yeah, and it's already on with Neal. You guys, I know you guys chat quite a bit, don't you, Neal?
I watch his stuff. Yeah, I mean, we comment. I mean, occasional texts, just like with you, and
Right.
nothing outrageous. But maybe after we all meet, who knows when? Are you guys going to the National or?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. See, I'm jealous. I'm not going.
Right. I was going to ask you.
Yeah, no, it's. I've been to a few.
Okay.
Philly show I don't miss. It's Philly show's a really good show. From what I understand, is a lot of people consider it kind of like just an outstanding regional show. So I do attend that. The few times I've been to a national, I've had a great time. And I think the big thing is because you're meeting guys that you either know from message boards, and now it's a whole YouTube thing. So that's even better. So hearing about those get-togethers, that's to me, that's the real rub. That's the real thing right there.
Mm-hmm.
More than just the cards.
I can honestly tell you, this will probably be a pretty low-key national for me. And if you ask if I'm going every year because it's 30 minutes from my house. So,
oh yeah, why wouldn't you?
I'm just gonna go, and but I'm not going haywire. I really, really enjoy spending my money at Strongsville. So I'm not saving for the national. And when I say I'm low key, I'm still gonna buy and some stuff that I want, but it doesn't need to be a big card. It doesn't, I might fill gaps and things of that nature. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I just booked my room actually for Strongsville.
Did you really already?
I did.
Wow.
I did. And you know why? So I've only known about Strongsville for 2 years, and it was because of YouTube. And the first year, I'm kind of like, that sounds like a great show, like right up my alley. Last year, I was thinking about going and just couldn't do it. I think because I thought too long. So this year, I said, you know what? I'm going to book it. This past weekend, I booked 2 nights. So I'm going to arrive. I'm going to drive. It's like 6.5, 7 hours, I think.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? It is what it is. And I'm going to arrive, I think, Friday. So I'm going to probably leave Delaware like 3:30 in the morning, I think, just to kind of, why not? I won't be able to sleep anyway.
Right.
Just drink some coffee and some good music, and I'll get out there and leave on Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, what was it this year? I think I got in on Thursday. afternoon, and then I left Sunday as well.
Okay.
Part of the fun was Thursday night because everybody's getting in and everybody's hanging out. And then now, four collectors, Theo and John, have done such a great job with the trade night, and then Chris holds that get together. I mean, it's every night. It's a get together, which is phenomenal.
Sure.
So
now that trade night, that wouldn't be Thursday, would it?
No, it was Friday. It was
Okay.
Saturday.
It was at Strongsville. It was it was Saturday, I think. Yeah, Saturday.
Because Friday was the get together.
Yes.
With Chris. And then Saturday. Yeah. So, but I mean, it's I've done the national since I started the channel only once. It was the one in Cleveland, but prior to that, that's how I introduced myself to a lot of the people that I'm friends with now, to include Sammy. So
there you go.
I didn't have a channel. Went to that get together and just started talking to people. And I always say Orlando and Sammy were the ones who really pushed me over the edge to do it. So
yeah, Orlando has that effect.
Yes, another one. Slight, nice judge. He just lightly nudges you. Just do it. Just do it. And I can't wait to see him. I haven't seen him since Strongsville. It'll be fun to see him. So.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be great to see him. I mean, considering everything that he's been going through the past month or so, I mean, kudos for him to be able to kind of get himself in shape to be able to do it for the national. So, yeah.
All right, so I guess the great thing we get to do is you get to show us stuff, Neal.
If you have stuff prepared.
Oh yeah, I mean, I always have stuff. I brought down a box. So I've collected a lot of things. A lot of the mainstream issues. I was big in the 50s, 60s as well. But you see it a lot. It's funny because like going back to the early days of watching YouTube. Now I think about it, it was Sammy, with his, showing cases, and you're looking at a case and it's like, okay, there's some 56 tops, there's some 57s, here's some 64s, but then there'll be something. It's like, wait a minute, and you pause it. And Sammy has done a great job with showing the business card, right? So I'll rewind it, and I'm like, okay, let me just see if I can get that cell phone number and find out. And I've made a couple purchases that way, but it's the unique, odd kind of things I've been looking for. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a 56 tops Mickey Mantle. It's a classic card. Mm-hmm. But if I woke up at 2:30 this morning and said, you know what, I want to go out and find one. Well, I could, and probably have 40 to 50 to choose from, whether it's on eBay or on 54 or, whatever, any of the Facebook groups. But it's the odd stuff that I kind of like. And I think that's why I was drawn to Aaron's channel, because he likes that kind of off the beaten path type stuff. And not that it makes it worth $1 million collection, but it's the chasing, it's the learning about an issue. Sometimes you buy an issue and you don't really quite know exactly what it is in terms of distribution. Like, I don't know if you saw this, Sammy, but this is a 1965 Come Alive Willie Mays.
I've never seen that, actually.
Yeah, there was like 6. Some on the back. There's darn numbers. What's that?
And he's actually smiling.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool card. But I saw this actually on 54 about a year ago. Someone had posted, maybe 2 years ago, and
see if I can get that to go. Okay.
Yeah. It's a cool set, obscure set, and no one really knows a lot about it. Heritage. It was either Heritage or one of the ones out in California. I can't.
One of the auctions?
Yeah, one of the auctions out in California. It was either Heritage or this other one, and it's going to come to me in a few minutes. Okay. They had a whole set, and it came with glasses. So what they said was, this is the back of the card. There are 3 different images, and you put these glasses, or maybe it's just 2. It's like button. There you go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You put these glasses on and you do something with them, and '60s technology, but
Right.
there were like 2 baseball players, I think 2 wrestlers, and a couple quarterbacks, like 6 but it's just stuff like this that I like. The team issues, not a J Publishing. I did finally figure out this is actually a team issue and not J Publishing. But
I got my first J Publishing last week.
There you go.
Mail.
Yeah.
From a great guy. Neal sent me the Mantle J Publishing. I did a video on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's just, with the J Publishing and those type of team issues, it's the images that you don't see on the Topps cards. And don't get me wrong. I mean, the Mantle has some great Topps cards. He also had some bad ones. It's just because it's Mickey Mantle doesn't mean I'm going to like it. It's just
right.
Some of the ones were awful. Those J Publishing I think, are kind of cool.
They're very cool.
Yeah.
And I love the black and white stuff. I mean, I didn't as a kid, but I'm really digging the exhibits. And I think pound for pound, here's a 39-46 Ted Williams. These salutation exhibits, I think pound for pound, they're the best value in the hobby. I'm
sorry, Neal. That's a perfect example. You can get the DiMaggio pennies on the dollar, and it's playing days. It's up to 46, so it's playing days. Pennies on the dollar in comparison to some of his other stuff, and it's a beautiful image. It really is.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. I have a DiMaggio. He might not be in this. I have 2 of those salutations, in DiMaggio and Ted. But you want a Walter Johnson, and the T206s. Some of those, they're $3,000 to $4,000 depending on the grade. You can get an exhibit. This one's a 26-29 postcard back. I'm really into postcards. I think this is his best image.
He's got a 21 that's horizontal, doesn't he?
I love that one too.
That's phenomenal. Yeah.
But that's the kind of stuff. I mean, it's just like, then from the '60s, and they're not super expensive, but there's like a set of 10 1965 McGregors. Yep. They're oversized, and
it's great shot of them.
Yeah, it's something you don't see on a Topps card, and you don't see a lot of it. But I got the 3 Hall of Famers from that set as Tony Oliva, and this is actually, that's like a rookie. No one considers it because they consider, and then one of my favorite cards is the Clemente, and this took a long time for me to find, but I finally found one. I thought it would be a little bit higher, but again, why we get these things graded? Sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't need to, but got this one done, but that's the kind of stuff. I mean, I don't want to bombard you guys with,
No, that's the point. That's the whole point.
I don't have anything to show anyway.
Yeah, you keep going. So first of all, I'm wondering, does Theo have that Clemente? I'm sure he's got it.
That was my first thought as well.
His Clemente collection looks remarkable. I mean, it looks like he probably has that. Yeah, I'm sure he does.
It's pretty,
But I know you had shown us a couple when we were doing the Mount Rushmore, Warsh cigars and some of those obscure sets that I think are phenomenal.
All right, let's see cards that Jason likes.
Everything
the stuff that Jason likes.
Everything he's showing is right up my alley. So.
I know. Anything from the 20s and 30s, it's all Jason.
So
it's becoming a theme.
It is. Gabby Hartman.
How about that for a build? So,
is that the Dickie? Okay, I'm sorry.
That's a Dickie.
I thought.
And I mean, one of the greatest catchers, ever, and underrated issue. And I mean, this thing was, I think when I got it, it was $80, $90. I mean, it's
right.
But you can really collect. I mean, budgets are all different. I mean, people have different focuses. People have different ideas what they want to do. Different everything. It's the personal in the PC, right? You make the rules and you do what you got to do, and you set your own path. And if you are trying to add cool stuff and get a wide array of Hall of Famers, I mean, there are some issues that you can buy.
Absolutely.
Dirt cheap. So
I know,
but yeah.
someone else's mouth is going to be watering Stukes. I know this is falling right in Scott's category too. He has got an amazing collection, and I think people are now just starting to come around. Right, he was the exhibit guy forever.
The exhibit encyclopedia guy.
Right. I mean, that's his nickname, the encyclopedia. But he's been that guy forever, and now I've kind of, due to inspiration from others, I'm like, all right, I'm seeing the Stukes way, the encyclopedia way.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Scott's magic.
Yeah, exhibits they're fantastic. And I mean, that exhibit supply company, I think 21 was the first. They may have had one in 1919, but 21 I don't have an example from that. That's a tough one. And there's Walter Johnson's one of the ones I do like to get. I would like to get, I should say, but I have a pretty good run up through 39 to 46. But that's actually, so I'm not a set collector. I've never have been. I've tried and failed. So I just can't. I'm not one of those completist type of. I've done player runs. I've completed those. But once you're done, it's like, what do you do now? So I have been known to sell cards and then buy other ones, and to me, that's what works for me. Some people refuse to do that, and I get it because that's what they like or don't like to do. It's just like, but learning new stuff and starting type cards, and I just like learning, and the thrill of the chase, right?
Absolutely.
And then you get it, and you're like, all right, what's next? So,
Sammy did a whole video on that.
Yeah. Listen, I get it. I've been in that position before where it's like I've gotten the card, I accomplished what I set out to do. Now it's like you immediately jump to the next thing, and I've had to really had to work hard not to jump the gun to the next one. You want to appreciate your accomplishment of getting the card that you wanted. So,
sure.
Every card has a dynamic story to how you got it. So it's admire it. And then maybe wait a day or two.
Right. Well, I love it. I was telling you guys before we jumped on, I was on a text with Tony, Southern Collector, and Aaron, and both of them send what they just picked up. And I won't say what it is. I'll let them do that. Just beautiful monster cards. And I'm like, all right, I just need to go buy something. So I started scouring and picked something up. I showed it to you guys. When it gets in, I'll do a video on it. But I'm like, this is what I got. I got to get something. So
you got to treat yourself, right?
But right, exactly right.
It's like that Parks and Recreation. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
That was a great show. Well, very underrated show, right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
So what else we got cooking?
Well, I know this, I think Sammy may have touched on this before. Maybe I just picked up on it. Sometimes you got to let go of some things because you want like a big card. Now, I don't have a lot of huge cards, but I mean, I have sold, because you're collecting so long. And I remember, for instance, taking a break back. This was probably early 2012 for about 3-4 years. Didn't do a lot. It was getting started with coaching and kind of came back to the hobby. I mean, I would look every now and then, but really, I mean, I was so busy with the board of directors. I mean, I was heavily involved in my son's Little League, and I had a great time. So I came back, and I don't know what happened in 2016, but it seemed like prices really jumped in like just a 3-4 year period. So I looked at my collection because I think it's important every now and then to go through what you have. Sometimes things are going to make the cut and continue to stay with you. Sometimes they won't. And if there are bigger cards that you normally wouldn't buy or don't have the patience to save for, because we like to buy stuff, right? I mean, sometimes you gotta let some stuff go, and but you can get some good cards in return. So, yeah.
I haven't gone down that path yet either. I need to.
Yeah.
Jason cannot relate.
No, everything that I purchased is still with me from the day I was buying cards when I was 10 years old till now. So,
yeah,
it's gonna hit you one day. And
It almost did it.
and
It
if it
almost did
doesn't,
at
that's great.
Strongsville. It was close at Strongsville. I was getting a lot of pressure, and then I backed off on the last minute, and I'm glad I did because I'll never get rid of that card.
Which one? Wait, which one were you feeling pressured into moving?
It was the 1998 Upper Deck Michael Kobe.
Oh, that's right. I remember you told me about that.
Yeah, it gem minted. I went to PSA with it. I've submitted to PSA twice in my life, and it came. I got upcharged, and when I found out what it was worth, I'm like, oh, jeez.
Yeah,
but
charge it.
Right, but I ripped it out of a $4 pack, and now and then it gem minted. I'm like, I can get a lot with this, and I was getting the heat from my crew to dish it. They're like, even if you get 800 for it, I'm like, I know, but I just can't. And he is my favorite athlete of all time. So now it's officially off the table. I'm not even going to bring it to shows with me. It's just
staying. Just asking what you were offered for it.
I was offered, I think I said 1,000, and he wanted to give me 900.
Ooh,
900 or 950. And I spent the total investment in the card is the cost of grading plus a $4 pack. So maybe I had $30 into it or something like that.
Yeah,
so
that's good stuff.
But that's my guy, right? And we I don't want to make it about basketball either, but I'm putting out a video very shortly, and it's gonna be dedicated to basketball in particular. So I can't. That was the era that I was in high school, and just shortly after high school, the Bulls were making their run. My family is a basketball family first and foremost. Everybody played basketball. We weren't baseball. I mean, we played baseball when we were younger. But most of us were basketball players. So that's my first. I can't stand the NBA now, but back then I was knee deep and collecting probably more basketball than football or baseball back then. So
yeah. Listen, I have some basketball cards, and so I have two sons. They do like baseball cards a little bit, but our youngest he's kind of getting into basketball cards, which is fine by me. You kind of hope they collect. If they do, that's great. If they don't, that's great too. But my youngest, he's starting to get into the basketball cards, so I enjoy watching him. Buy blasters and this and that. It's just fun, but it's a gamble. It's just
I was gonna say modern like to date collecting.
Oh yeah,
it's such a roller coaster. It really
so
is.
that's I mean, I remember like probably '89, I think, when Upper Deck came out. I went into a card shop because again, I would buy packs here and there, but mostly tops. I liked Fleer and Donruss in the early '80s, and I still would buy a few here and there. But I remember '89. I forget what the price was, but seeing a pack of cards for like $3.
Yeah,
it just blew me away. Anyway, now
you're talking baseball, right?
Yeah, and now that's what stuff costs. For this base,
it's like $7. It's like $7, and if you go retail, I look at that and look at myself and go, all right, I could buy 3 packs, or I could pick up like a wide pen. So I just stray away from it. I'm like, there's no reason. So
I will say though, some of the cards in the '90s were pretty impressive. I mean, they really were, and I mean, and pricey. I mean, I remember being at a national in HC. This was probably, I guess there was one a couple years ago. It was probably the one a couple years ago because there was also one I think in 2016. I went to
one during COVID, right? That was the AC Atlantic City was during COVID, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that was. I remember who were some of the big influencers. Remember, there was like guys doing Project 2020. You guys familiar with all that stuff?
Are you talking like just like Mr. Beast influencers or sports card?
Yeah, just like not like
something like that.
I don't know what they were called, but
Pootie Pie was like a gamer or something. I was just talking about
stuff like that. Like apparently, like mobs of people were following. I had no idea who they were.
I have a Project 2020 Nolan Ryan.
Yeah,
I mean, they're good cards.
Yeah,
they're cool. I like them.
They are, but they were hyped up so much, and then it just kind of like I think there was a Mike Trout. Someone was telling one of my buddies in the hobby sent me a completed auction of a Mike Trout. Who Mike Trout was going for, maybe $2,000, and now they're $100. It's just. I think it was just there was a lot of around that time. So I've been collecting a long time. Like I've probably said a few times now, but I've seen a lot of different periods. And to me, that, like post-pandemic, the first couple years, it was absolutely, it was crazy with pricing. And I think there was a lot of flippers.
Yep.
And I think for the most part, flippers are a necessity in the hobby. I think they actually do a service, but it got to a point where, it was a game of hot potato.
Yep.
It's just who's going to hold it is going to lose. And,
Well,
I don't have any time for that.
I do know there are people in the vintage world who actually voice concerns about that, right? From dealers buying from dealers, from buying from dealers, and buying from dealers, and then it's going to the collector. And what was the markup on that? If it went through the hands of 5 or 6 dealers. My feeling is, I just, like, as much as I want to look at all that, I'm not looking at massive cards. So for me, at the end of the day, yeah, if I overpaid a little bit for it, so what? I'm not, again, overpaid for me is
Exactly.
going to be maybe $50, $60. It's not going to be a massive overpay. So I'll just kind of deal with it. And it is what it is, as long as I have the card that I want. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't mind overpaying. I've done without knowing I did, and didn't care. Sometimes I knowingly, overpaid for a card.
Yep.
And it's fine. It is what it is. There are sometimes a card comes up. One of you guys said earlier and nailed it. I mean, cards, we have these memories of, not all of them, but there are cards in our collection that we remember where we bought it, when we bought it, maybe not the exact date, but hey, I was with whoever, he was trying to get me to buy this thing. And and that's what's fun about the hobby. That's
absolutely.
Those are the cards that make the final cut. I like the whole, the PC is like it's like a living, breathing thing.
Organism.
And it's it just, it changes, at least for me, because my focus has been, I will say the type card collecting, it's been, it seems to have addressed a lot of things I liked. And that was like a lot of different types, and not being, it's never ending. So typically if I finished a player run, and I did, Pete Rose was my guy, Mike Schmidt was my guy when I was a kid, and I always liked Aaron, and I think I did Hank Aaron's the player run twice.
Wow.
And just why I would sell it, and I would try to do it again. But it just wasn't enough. I liked some cards of Hank Aaron. I didn't like all of them. So, but I also liked, like I just pointed out, like the Bill Dickey or like a Roy Campanella, the Dorman postcards, by the way.
Yep.
These are fantastic, these things. I don't know if you can, I can't tell with the glare, but it's
that's good.
Just a cool postcard. So the postcards, that's been my thing. The oversized, but postcards especially.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I've showed a bunch, and I'm not going to show all of them, but I got to save some content, right?
Right, exactly right.
Of course, I totally get it. But I guess, what's on the horizon for you, Neal?
In terms of,
in terms of like things you want, cards you want.
So I do have a couple cards in mind that I would love to find. I had an opportunity to buy one years and years ago, and after doing a little bit more research, I wish I would have bought it. So a lot. I don't have a picture of it, but Jimmy Fox. I'm a fan of the Athletics and the Phillies. Grew up a Phillies fan. I'm a Philadelphia sports fan. Go Birds, right? Anyone out there in Philly gotta give a little Go Birds out there. But there are. I'm drawn to the Athletics, in terms of the hobby. The Phillies, back in the day, they stunk. They still do, but I love them. They didn't have quite the players like the A's had. And Jimmy Fox has a postcard, and I can find him every now and then that he signed. So oftentimes what I'm finding out is that players would have postcards produced simply to accommodate autograph requests. And I found this one postcard from 1930. It's black and white. It's the coolest Jimmy Fox. It might be one of the coolest cars you've ever seen in your life. And if you can find one signed, it's going to cost you a couple grand. But if one comes up, I'm going to buy it, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to, how long I'm not going to buy anything. So
Right. That's the
but yeah, there's Sammy. There's, to answer your question. I mean, you watch YouTube. You go on Facebook. It could be at lunchtime. It could be in the morning. It could be before you go to bed, and something might pop up. You're like, wow.
Right.
You never knew you wanted that. And I mean, I remember seeing some of your Maze cards, with the hires, and you're like, yeah, you know what? I remember wanting to get one of those. You start looking at eBay, you start.
Yeah.
So who knows what it's going to be? If I were going to the National, I would want to have a little bit of cash in my pocket and kind of hopefully something presents itself. I think if you go there with a list, you might come away, unless you're a set collector and looking for commons, but you want to just kind of see what happens. That's the exciting part of the hobby, at least for me.
I feel the same way. I don't ever go with an agenda. I don't, I go, the Strongsville, I had an agenda because the card was already kind of semi-purchased. But besides that, typically I don't go. And Sammy and we've talked about this on other episodes. I was walking the Cleveland National with Sammy, looking for a particular card, not finding the one I want. And then I found the 41 double play Cronin Ted Williams. And I'm like, look at that thing. What a great price. I'm like, what a great price. And Sam was like, do you even want that card? And he actually asked me where I said, I do now.
I know it sounds like a dickish thing for me to ask, but
right. He's like, is that on your list? Nope, but it is now.
Like, you really want that?
Right. Like, why are we were looking for Jackie Robinson, and then I just 180'd it. And I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. In hindsight, that my question did sound a little obnoxious. So I apologize.
No, it wasn't obnoxious. I think you were honestly, no, it wasn't rude or obnoxious.
I just know you were dedicated to finding the Jackie. So I'm like, okay, that's
right.
There's gonna be a lot of Jackies in the room, so let's go ahead and find that 56. But I don't blame you. I mean, listen, you got two Hall of Famers on the same card, so
yeah, two Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
and now I want to add more Cronin. It's the only Cronin I have. I'm interested in his 49 Leaf. I think it's his 49 Leaf. He's got a ton of pre-war stuff that I'm in. A shocker, Sammy, R311 is another one I'm interested in. It's like a face shot of him, and it's like this close. So, a lot of stuff out there.
Oh, yeah. It's soon to be the value vintage card collector. It sounds like
right. No
the
kidding,
way
right?
you're going, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, you see this kind of stuff, and light bulb goes off in your head. But speaking of Jackie Robinson, I think this is his best card from a mainstream standpoint.
Great card.
Yeah, it's just classic. There's things you got to look for. I mean, just the tone. They're different. Not all of them are the same. And 54s are kind of tough. And you were talking about Jackie. I had to pull one out, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the other thing. So I have a couple projects that are on delay because I've went down 15 other rabbit holes. But typically speaking, I don't need a player run. So I purchased the 55 Jackie. And I was working on the 56 Hall of Famer, and I'm like, well, I got a Jackie now, so he's in the collection. Let me go look at other stuff. So
I mean that's perfect.
Yeah. So
just whatever strikes you at the moment.
That's where it's at. That's what it is. But now, as you've learned, and you call it type collecting, Neal. That's a perfect phrase for it.
Type collecting.
Type collecting.
Oh, type.
Like typesets.
Yeah. So now I'm learning, and I'll ask and I'll find resources, and Aaron's a great one. And I get my buddy Joe knows, and I'm like, hey, did you ever see this? And, I pointed one out to Aaron today. I'm like, I really like this image. He's like, yeah, I think I got that card. I'm like, yeah, shocker. I know you do. And, I'm like,
but, this might be up your alley, Sammy.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? They're cool. So if you're not familiar with it, anyone out there, it's a 1905 JT die. It's like a postcard. right?
Yeah, they're incredible. The colors that they have on
Yeah.
that.
Let me take it out of this. Let me take it out of this superior fit. Not that I'm being endorsed. Card sleeve. See it better right here. Like,
I will say, like every time I've seen that card, it's never been above a 1. So to see 1 and a 3 is pretty amazing.
yeah, this was I self subbed this one.
Oh, that's cool.
I'll tell you what. So this is even a card. Like, I don't even know why I got it graded. I mean, sometimes, especially for these postcards, there's no need, but I do anyway. Because again, like I pointed out, I'm a knucklehead. I will waste some money, and I will do it. You know, if a company. Now, I've always liked SGC. I love the tuxedo, the tux, whatever you want to call it. I think it's the best holder out there. But getting back to this card, the thing that I liked about it, and I learned about it from the guy I bought it from. There's like a score. You know, you could take score right on this postcard and then send it to your friends. This was like the communication back in the day. You didn't text anyone; you sent them a postcard.
Now, who's on it? I know Brad.
Oh, so Maddie's on there. Also, Iron Man McGinnity. So there's like 2 Hall of Famers, but also Dummy Taylor. Now, Dummy Taylor was he was a good player for the Giants, but he was also one of the first deaf ball players.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, it wasn't. Speaking of PC, it wasn't PC back then. Otherwise, that's why they called him Dummy. So
right.
But it's just a cool card. Sam Mertz is on here, and I think Frank Bowerman, and that is it. But yeah, it's Matty right in the middle.
That's cool.
Yeah, that
you really can't tell, but it is a Mathewson, in my opinion.
It's funny. People forget that during the early years of Mathewson, he was the number 2 guy. He was not the number 1.
Yeah,
McGinnity was number 1 with under McGraw for some years, and then I think he got traded. But it's early playing days cards like that, team cards. Yeah,
it's
cool, man.
It's good stuff. I mean, now, don't get me. I think one of the greatest cards out that has ever been made is from the T206. It's the Dark Cap Mathewson. But again, all you need for that is just money, because you can find it whenever you need to.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with owning it. I wish I had one. I mean, I have owned that card a few times, but you kind of have it. You get bored with it, and I don't know how to explain it, but I don't think I'm the only one that does that. It's just
no. It's, what's his Dave Blue Jacket 66 talked about this. I don't know. I can't remember if I heard this in one of the Golden Age of Cardboard podcasts, one of the early ones actually. I think he was talking about how sometimes there's purchases that we make in the moment, like I forgot what the term he used, and then you're buying the card, and then you realize later, maybe I don't know how soon after, but then you realize, I don't know why I bought this card. Like, I really don't know. And so then you end up moving it, which, listen, it happens. I think it happens to a lot of us.
Yep.
Yeah. No, and it happens.
Impulse purchases.
It'll happen to me sooner or later, but just not now.
Yeah, Jason,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just reflecting on what Jeff said here. You don't get bored with cards.
No, I don't. And every card that I purchase, and sometimes there are times where I just, I buy a card to buy a card, but I'll show a 58 Jim Bunning, and people are like, well, what are you buying that for? I'm like, it's a beautiful card. It's a pink background. Whatever. Do you like the 59 set? I love it. The colors are different and this. And so it kind of comes across, and I'll be doing a video on it. It's kind of backed up right now. What's your eye appeal, right? And I saw Mike Petty was on, I think he was on Tony's channel. It was one of their oddball episodes, and they were talking about eye appeal being the big phrase right now. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit as to why I buy what I buy and what eye appeal is and what it is to me. So, but that's what it comes down to. And I find myself now I'm gravitating towards, everybody wants the Hall of Famers, and of course there were a lot of great players out there, but there are so many fantastic images of players that are lesser known.
Oh yeah.
That can still be, Jimmy Dykes played for the White Sox. He's got a beautiful DeLong, and he's got a beautiful R311. So I mean, there are just so many different cards out there, and I'm gonna pick him up. Well, probably a little bit because he was with the White Sox in those particular cards, but they're just fantastic images, and I get to type collect. You know, the longs are getting expensive, so you know, do I want to invest in somebody? You know, the Gehrig is probably out of reach for me. So what's my next step? Maybe it's Jimmy Fox in a lower grade, or maybe it's a Jimmy Dykes in a mid grade, or you know, a decent looking card. You know, that's kind of how when I'm shopping, that's kind of how I work it. Yeah, everyone's got a budget, like you said. And you got to deal. You got to work within it.
Yeah, and your budget may be, you know, huge to some people. Some people it might be tiny. I mean, it's again, you know, I think if you try to keep up with the Joneses, I mean, the Joneses are going to win, you know, every single time because there's always going to be someone with a bigger collection. But you know, and you can pick. I mean, at least I think I pick up on some of the channels I watch where you can feel the excitement when someone is, hey, I just got this thing, and you know, and you've been down that road and you get it and you can appreciate it. But then some people, it's just rather ho hum, and you kind of wish you had. I mean, I wish I could get some of those cards, but yeah, it is what it is.
Right. No, I'm with you. And I see Tony's My Appeal, Mike Petty saying My Appeal, Tony My Appeal Inc.
Yeah,
there's gonna be I'm doing a whole video on that. So
that was a catchy. That was a nice phrase.
I'm gonna praise Mr. Petty right now. It was perfectly said.
It was
My Appeal is perfectly said.
Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. Did he come up with My Appeal? Yeah, that was Dan.
Oh, was it Dan?
Yeah, it was Dan.
I thought he came up with a different appeal, and then Mike turned it into My Appeal.
Yeah, we're just taking.
Now we're trademarking phrases.
My Appeal, Try Appeal. What other things? Rhyme? Sly Appeal, Fly Appeal.
As you clutch the loan cards and rock too, it would be Sly Appeal.
How about cry Appeal? Something that you just complete.
Own Appeal. That's what Dan said.
Oh, Dan says Own Appeal. That's right. Own Appeal. Right.
So,
sorry, I don't know.
I'll give them all the credit. They'll all get the credit. Now you know I watch way too much YouTube.
Let's see. What other things could you combine with Appeal?
I like Cry Appeal. Maybe I'll show some Cry Appeal.
Yeah, Cry Appeal's good. Cry Appeal's good. You'll just feel really depressed after you buy a certain card.
Right. Why did I buy this? We'll tie it into the Blue Jacket. You know, this is why. This is a Cry Appeal.
How about a Dry Appeal? Where you use Kurt's card care and you let it dry.
Right. Jeff just said Banana Peel.
That's a good one.
We can figure out Banana Peel.
Banana Peel and Pie Appeal. Yeah, everyone's diving into this whole thing. Only cry when you don't buy. Yeah, that is a good Cry Appeal.
Right.
Oh man, we can go on and on with this.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the beauty, I think, of YouTube, right? You know, we like talking about cards. We like, you know, acting goofy. We're guys, and you know, and we can't do either. You know, both of those with our family. Sometimes they don't get it. Our friends don't collect. So, you know, it's good. I mean, it's a whole thing. Someone coined the term card immunity, which, yeah, it's not bad.
Right.
But yeah, it's the truth. You know, it's watching these guys and sharing in the collections. It's good stuff.
It's why most people do it. It really is.
Man.
Yeah.
So, man, to round it out, because we're hitting that 1 hour mark, and I'm going to have to head out shortly, but
yep.
Is there anything else, Neal, you wanted to mention? You wanted to show before we finish up?
You know, it's I don't know. Yeah, let me see. So sometimes, like I was saying, you know, you get rid of some stuff that just wasn't like, I don't even know what it was, but I sold a bunch of cards a couple of years ago because I wanted to replace a card that I unfortunately got rid of years before, so I got the Gowdy Ruth, got the Gowdy Ruth back. Yeah. So this is a 2, and it was nicer than the 3 that I sold. So again, but you know, sometimes you just gotta do it. Find a ways. You know, there's always PayPal credit, right? You know, you can.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you just gotta do it. You did it there.
Yeah, no, sometimes you got to do it. Now, I would never do that if I didn't have the money. But I knew I was going to get one of these cards, and I knew it was going to be at a show, and I went and forked it over. Right? So it wasn't like it was today. I wouldn't have done it if it was, pricing like it was now, but
Right.
it was still pretty high. But I don't want to leave with just a Babe Ruth, but yeah, that's the point. It's just, you never know if there's a dream card. That is a dream card of mine. When I first got one, and I stupidly sold it, to go down different roads and try different things. But one day, maybe a 52 Topps Mantle. I'll never buy one. I could never fork over that kind of money. But maybe I win the lottery, and If I do, I'll buy you guys one too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine can look like a truck ran over it. I'm good.
There you go. But no, listen, I really appreciate, watching you guys, the stuff that you guys have done inside of YouTube. It was, an honor being on this. So appreciate it.
We're just a bunch of knuckleheads. That's all we are.
It's a great word. It goes with everything,
Right.
Well, we're definitely the one that spearheaded the beer appeal.
Right.
So there's at least that. So, all right, cool guys. Well, Neal, again, thank you so much for jumping on. Everybody, go and subscribe to Cardboard Coach Neal. I think we got you, or it seems like if we refresh, we're at 120 subscribers. I think there's definitely some others that can definitely benefit from everybody could benefit from your channel, but I'll leave it in the chat for one more time here so you guys can click on the link, go and check them out, subscribe. Let's get them to 200 and beyond.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be cool. At least I know I'm not talking to myself,
Exactly right.
They my kids and my wife, they hear me. It's just Dad. He's he's down there talking, so.
Yeah.
Well, we're watching, so that's good enough for me.
Yeah, there you go. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We'll see you next Thursday. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.
See you.